Hi everyone, it's Samantha from the Dancing Soap Dish. I hope you're well. Easter is approaching. It's a little bit earlier this year than it sometimes is, so I thought I'd get started on a great Easter project. I've made Easter eggs, but look on the back, they're actually massage bars. Yeah, so this is a really popular mold that I know a lot of you have, the massage bar mold. It's basically an oval, and on the back you have these little knobs, basically, that when you can use the bar of soap and really sort of rub it into your shoulders or rub it into your arms and give yourself a bit of a massage while you shower. Now, I thought these ovals were a great shape for Easter eggs. So I decided to use these little polymer clay cutters to cut out some embeds and then use those embeds to create like beautiful Easter egg patterns to make Easter egg massage bars. I think these are great. I think they're a great Easter treat. I think there's something that you should be putting in the Easter basket other than those chocolate eggs or along with those chocolate eggs. And today I'm going to show you how you can make them. I think they're just glorious. This tutorial is part of my Tweak of the Week series where I share with you everyday items and tools from other crafts and hobbies that with a slight tweak can be used for melt and pour soap making. You can check out all of my Tweak of the Week projects in a special playlist on this channel. Okay, let's get started. So here I have a 6-cavity rectangular soap mold and I'm going to fill it with 6 different colors to make my embeds. I'm going to do the 6 colors of the color wheel. I'm going to start with yellow, and I'm doing I'm doing exactly 25 grams, and I'm actually being quite precise with my measuring and making sure that each time I'm weighing out exactly 25 grams because I want all of these little mini bars of soap to be exactly the same height. So I can cut my embeds out of them and put them onto my massage bars, and I'll know that every single shape is going to be the exact same height, which will just make it look more uniform. It'll make it look neat and tidy, and when I'm pouring the clear over it later, I won't have the problem of some of the embeds being taller than the others. So as you can see, I'm just using the same little soap cup to melt every single color. By going in the order that I'm going, I'm making sure that I'm not contaminating any of them. So I started with yellow, which is my lightest color, then went orange, pink, purple, blue, and now green. And as you can see, I've been able to do all that in one cup without any issues. Now also I've melted 200 grams of white melt and pour soap base. That's about 7 ounces. And I'm going to pour 4 50-gram bars or 4 1 3/4 ounce bars. Again, I'm weighing them out just so they're nice and even. I'm also just putting a little bit of soap into all the little massage nodes and then giving them a spray with alcohol to get rid of any bubbles before pouring the rest of the bar. I also scented this soap base with lavender essential oil because it's colorless and a great springtime blend. Okay, it's a little while later and these have set. I'm just going to pop them out of the way. And these have set also. So I'm just going to pull these out. As you can see, they're not terribly thick, but they're also not like super thin. It's a decent size embed that I'm going to be able to get out of these. So I've got my 6 colors here. And I'm just going to lay them out so I can use my special Tweak of the Week tool, which is some cookie cutters, some circular cookie cutters, and these lovely little polymer clay cutters, which I mentioned earlier. So I've got these polymer clay ones, have all different shapes, actually quite thick, which is good. They're very strong, able to cut through the soap, no worries. I've also got nested circular ones, which I'll show you specifically what they're for. But I'm just going to start with this little teardrop shape here. If you need to sort of get your bit of soap out of the cutter, you can use a Q-tip or a cotton bud just to gently push it out. And I've made a little flower with my little teardrop shaped size embeds. These embeds, this soap, sorry, is still a little bit soft, so I'm able to sort of see how I just sort of pushed those together there and they stayed together, which was helpful. So I've made a little flower. And now I'm using my circular cookie cutters, and specifically like the wider ones. And I am cutting circular strips for my eggs. So this is just a 2-dimensional oval shape, and I want to make it look like it's an egg, which is a 3-dimensional shape. So what I'm doing, I'm not using, any straight lines for my striped Easter eggs is a common decoration. But every time I want to put some stripes in my design, I'm actually cutting curves with the cookie cutter to give the impression that it's a 3-dimensional egg shape. And as you can see, I'm just cutting different strips of different colors to just line them up against each other and giving the impression that this is a rounded egg shape. And you can use, thin stripes, thicker stripes. I'm filling in the tops and the bottoms too, just by if I combine some of the larger cutters with some of the smaller cutters, I can actually get the right size to sort of fit in that bottom oval shape of the egg. I'm going to start looking at some other different designs now other than stripes. So I'm back to my little teardrops again, and these little teardrops here, just 3 of these work quite well in the top or the bottom of a mold. I've got some diamonds here which I'm also placing next to each other. Again, that's a common sort of Easter egg design. I've got circles here, so I'm cutting some green and some blue, and I'm alternating them. I'm pushing them against the cookie cutter just to get the shape of the cookie cutter, and then I've actually cut them in half, and I've paired them with a little stripe of soap, and I've just made, a more interesting little sort of half circle shape there, which I think is awesome. So basically I'm just messing around with all these different geometric shapes and all these different patterns. I'm alternating colors, I'm alternating shapes, and I'm just trying to make some Easter egg looking ovals. So I think it's going quite well. Just trying to sort out this section here. The hardest part is cutting it to match the bottom and the top, but once you've sort of got that sorted out, it's pretty easy. There we go. I'm also using just a bamboo skewer to help me position these little embeds here. There's some cute little yellow hearts there going in that one. I think, see, they're really starting to take shape. I'm going to use the rest of these semicircles here above the line, whereas in the other soap I use them below a line, so that's just a good way to alternate that there. I'm also going to use this little diamond cutter to create some tiny little triangles by just cutting along the edge of this piece of soap here. So I've got my little triangles which I can use in my design, and I've also created a zigzag edge on this piece of soap, which I think I'll be able to incorporate somewhere as well. So if I take another color, for example purple, and I cut some more little triangles, I can insert them inside the little triangle holes that I cut out of the yellow, and I've just cut that across to make it nice and straight. I can put that in the bottom of one of these soaps and just neaten it up by putting a strip of another color over the top. And there you go, I've got a little bit of a zigzag going on there, which is also common in Easter eggs. You sometimes see some zigzag designs. I'm cutting out some pretty stars, and I'm also cutting out some daisies. I'm going to make a sort of a rainbow colored daisy chain, which again looks very pretty. The stars as well, if you want a partial star, you can either cut one in half, or you can just cut one out of the edge of a piece of soap so that you end up with a partial star, which it's just a nice way to make sure that the space is filled. You can't fill everything with a whole star, but you can use some partial ones. I'm just trying to find, I might be able to use the rest of this zigzag pattern here again, but I'm just not satisfied. It's not working for me. I'm all just doing this off the cuff, and I'm just playing around and going with what I like, and you can do that too. But I'll certainly have enough designs at the end that you'll be able to copy if you need to. So there we go. This is what I was talking about before. I'm going to do a partial green star to sort of fit in that little corner there. I've just sort of cut it out of the corner of the soap. There we go, and I just have a little smidge of a green star there. That one's looking cute too. Okay, so here are my 4 final designs. I'm finally happy with them. As you can see, I've got the stars, which I was working on, and also there's a little zigzagged line down the bottom, which I showed you how to do. The next one's got my beautiful rainbow daisy chain. This one, again, is just a mix of stripes and shapes. This one's got my flower, and I even put some sort of half petals on the edges just to show that that flower design goes all the way around the edge, just sort of making it look like a 3-dimensional shape like I mentioned before. This is what I've got left over. I might be able to do something else with this in the future. We never like to waste soap, but for the moment I'm just going to get it all out of the way, scoop it up into a bowl, and get ready for the next step, which will be setting all these in place with some clear soap base. So I'm going to pour some clear soap base over the top. I'm just going to do 2 eggs at a time. I don't want to overwhelm myself. So I'm just weighing out 50 grams of clear base. Again, that's about 1 3/4 ounce. I'm giving it a stir. It's a little bit hot. It needs to cool down. The trick with this is you don't want it to be so hot that it melts your embeds, but you also don't want it to be so cool that it doesn't stick to the top layer of the massage bar. I've got some isopropyl alcohol on hand to help me out. I'm going to give these first 2 eggs here a really good spray. I haven't scented this clear base because I don't want it to go foggy. The white massage bars are scented, so that will suffice. So I'm just going to start pouring this on. I want to have my alcohol on hand. So I'm just going to pour this, well, it's supposed to be very carefully, but it wasn't very careful at all. Did you hate it when the soap runs down the side? Rather than pouring out of the spout, it runs down the side and comes off the bottom of the cup. That's so annoying. But there we go. I've filled up these 2 now. I haven't noticed yet that some of them have moved. So because if you pour it too roughly, you can make them move, which is what happened here. So I'm just using this skewer to try and turn this little piece around here. I can also see I've got a little bit of the embeds are sort of melting in some places. I'm just going to try and pour a little bit more on this one because there's some of the embeds that are peeping out over the top. I need to move this little yellow heart back because it moved as well. There we go. Try and do that as soon as possible because you don't want the soap setting and then you can't move them. So I'm also just making sure I ran my skewer around the edge before because I wanted to make sure that the clear base got all the way around the edge of the egg. This one's turning into a real mess. I don't know what's going on here, but it's all gluggy and yucky and I don't like it, so I'm getting rid of it. And there we go. All right. Not a catastrophe, but certainly didn't go as well as I would have liked. So now it's time for the second 2. Again, I've sprayed them with alcohol and I'm just going to pour some of this soap on. I'm going to pour it a little bit thicker this time because I want a little bit more in it than the first 2 that I did. Spraying with alcohol to get rid of those bubbles there. And I'm going to do this next one, pouring very gently because I don't want any of these embeds to shift. But I mean, it can happen, it does happen, so just keep your eye on them and make sure you grab that skewer and move them back into place as soon as you can. Because I have poured it a little bit thicker, there's a lot of really hot soap that's just gone on top of these embeds, and some of them are, especially if you have a look at the stars, they are starting to melt around the edges here. which is a shame. So I will be able to tidy them up a little bit. I'll be able to show you that in a little while. But yeah, okay, that went a little bit better than last time. I think I might actually pour some more on top of these now, because the second two I did actually have more clear on top of them than the first two, so I just want to even that out. So I'm just going to add a little bit of clear to this one and a little bit of clear to this one. If embeds melting is an issue for you, you can actually pour the clear in stages, so like in thinner layers. Obviously, the more hot soap that's on top of an embed, the more it's going to melt. So you can see there the stars and also the daisies, a little bit fuzzy. These guys not too bad, but I can see a little bit. I don't think the camera's picking it up. Okay, these are now fully set, and it's time to demold them. Let's see what we've got to work with. So I'm just going to pop them out here. Needs a little bit of tugging just to get these little nodes out of their individual little pockets. There we go. Now, if these were perfect and I didn't have any trouble with my embeds melting, I'd be like, see, here they are, ready to go, all done and dusted. But because I've got these issues with some of my embeds, I do want to try and fix them up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a knife, and I'll show you that. So these stars, they actually melted quite severely, but the soap that melts off them actually floats to the top of the clear layer. So what you can do is you can grab yourself a knife and actually slice off that excess clear layer. And you can see there the sort of the soap that melted sitting in that clear layer. And then once you've done that, underneath you've actually cut off all the little melted bits, and the stars actually look quite decent now because you can't see all those little bits that melted away. So I'm going to do the same here to this bar, because the daisy chain, I had some severe melting going on there. See, you can see little outlines of the daisies where all that soap melted. But now if I show you the soap here, the daisies actually look quite crisp and clean. So that's just sort of like a little cheat or a little hack, what you can do if you do have flat embeds, obviously, and embeds that have melted a bit. You can cut off the excess there that will have the melted soap in it, and make them look a whole lot better. So because I did that for the first two soaps, I'm also going to do it for these two. So like I said, I'm quite happy with the amount of clear I poured on top. The only reason I'm slicing it off now is just to fix the error that I made. If my soap wasn't too hot and there wasn't any melting, then this wouldn't be necessary. But I'm just want my bars to all be uniform in terms of the height. So because I've had to slice off those first two, I'm just going to give these two a clean up as well, just to make everything look nice and neat and uniform. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but I may be a bit of a perfectionist. I just can't help myself. So anyway, okay, I'm loving how these are. One thing though, one little criticism of my mold, these ovals are wonky, man. These are some wonky ovals. That was a cheap mold, and I think that it's not holding its shape as well as it should, and some of these ovals are well and truly misshapen, but that's what you get for buying a cheap mold. All right, so now what I'm doing is I've grabbed a fresh dry rag, clean out of the packet, and I'm just using it to even out the striation marks that I had from the knife, a few of the knife marks, or just sort of buffing off as well any of the parts that weren't quite straight or weren't quite cut evenly. And I'm just basically rubbing the soaps face down onto the rag and just giving them a buff and a polish. Basically, essentially what it is, I'm polishing the soaps, I'm buffing them up to just give them a final sort of polish. So here they are. What do you think? I mean, these are just so much fun. They are just so fun. I love the colors. I love the shapes, I love the patterns, I love the fact that they're massage bars. What a great Easter treat for anybody. I think they're awesome, and I know a lot of you guys have this mold, so give it a try. Thanks for watching. If you love what we do, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Enjoy.